Okay, think this is going. Pretty sure it's going. Okay. So I thought I would do a live about type 1 diabetes. As if you're new to my channel, you probably don't know, but I am newly type 1 diabetic. I just wanted to go through that and share exactly what that means. So type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease. Type 1 disease is where your pancreas cannot make enough insulin for your body to be capable to handle sugar. So it is known as insulin dependent diabetes, and it's the most common type found in children and young adults. This condition occurs when the pancreas doesn't make enough insulin for you to have sugar. So insulin injections are always required. So I take an injection, about 6 units of insulin every evening, and I take more. I take long-acting insulin in the evening every day, no matter what, and I take fast-acting insulin if I'm having like a really high-carb meal. So when I was first diagnosed, of course, it's a lot to handle. I really couldn't handle needles for most of my life. So it had been, I went to the doctor once, and the doctor was like, okay, we're going to give you a shot. And then I shoved her arm away, and I almost shot the doctor. So that we always joke about that, like Savannah almost shot the doctor. But I didn't, so that's good. But I've come a long way, and I've been able to finger prick myself, and it really doesn't hurt that bad, and it's just my fingers kind of, they never hurt afterwards, but you can kind of see, like, I just have like little dots all over my fingers from where I poke myself sometimes, but it goes away. The shots, I'm really surprised. The needle is really, really, really tiny. So if you're newly a type 1 diabetic, the shots really aren't that bad. You get used to it, and I understand totally. When I first started doing the insulin shots, I could not give myself my own shot, and my sister or mom had to do it just because I was scared, and I didn't like the idea that I was going to inflict pain on myself, which nobody does, but that was just really hard for me. I give my insulin shot in my thigh right here, and I switch every day just so that I don't give myself the shot in the same place, because if you give shot in the same place, it can build up like scar tissue and just a pocket of insulin. You don't want that to like explode and then you have way too much insulin, because if you have way too much insulin, then you'll go really low. So I normally was going high, so with high blood sugar you need insulin to like stay at the healthy level, but while I'm taking insulin, it's more you're more prevalent to go, or it's more common for you to go low when you have insulin. So like I have sugar like on hand, or I have a pop, or just something like that, and just fast acting sugar. So I was in Costa Rica a couple weeks, like a week or two, maybe 3 weeks after I had been, like, you have diabetes, so you need to like start taking your blood sugar and stuff like that. And so I didn't really know a ton, because my sister has diabetes, and she was diagnosed before me, and my parents wanted me to get tested. I did not want to get tested for it, but I ended up getting a blood test and then figuring out that I was. But before that, I was very non-supportive because I was scared that I would have it, and I'm very stubborn, and so I wish I would have been a little more open to learning, since now that I have type 1 diabetes, it's harder. But 3 weeks after, I went to Costa Rica, and Costa Rica is great, but as you know, Costa Rican food is rice and beans and just all the all the carbs. All the carbs are in like Mexican food and Costa Rican food. And there was some meat, so there was protein. There's plenty of protein for me to have, but like the snacks were I had a lot of fruit snacks, and fruit snacks are fast acting sugar. Okay, so I had fruit snacks. I had a couple one day, and I was also sick. I had a cold, and so I was eating these gummies, and I start getting really slap happy. And when I get slap happy, I really just lose it. So I was giggling and laughing myself to death. And one of my friends goes, "You should check your blood sugar." I was like, "No, I do not need to check my blood sugar." And then I just kept like not really, I wasn't really there, but I was understanding what was going on around me, but I really didn't want to check my blood sugar. And they're like, I think you need to check your blood sugar. So I did, and I was above 200. Okay, so the healthy, normal people level is around like, let's say 90 to 120 if you've eaten something. I think that's the range. I could be wrong, but that's like the safe range for a non diabetic. And when you eat something really sugary like fruit snacks or like ice cream or like a high carb meal like mac and cheese or something, um, a regular person's blood sugar will spike and then it will go right back down and it will be normal. But me, I can't stabilize that very well. And so me, I will go up if I eat sugar, and my blood sugar will stay up and it won't come back down. So I was really struggling with that, and they're like, "I think you need to check your blood sugar." So I checked it, and I was over 200, and I just wasn't feeling well. And so one of the moms that was on the trip with me called my mom, who was back in the States, and because she didn't really know what to do, um, it's an odd situation that not a lot of people are in all the time. So the doctor wanted me to go to the hospital. Just, but I was in Costa Rica and I didn't really want to go to the hospital in a foreign country, and um, so to get your blood sugar down, you exercise. Okay, it's just exercise. I walked around the hotel. It was a really nice hotel. It was kind of like mostly outside. So I was in the pool, and then I was on the roof, and I walked around back and forth, still kind of giggling to myself because my brain still isn't there. And I did not remember while this was happening, but I remembered that I needed to go to my room. I had no idea why. I forget, and I don't even know if I went for a reason. I was just not feeling good. But I went to my room and I said, "You need to lock this, Savannah. Otherwise, you know that you will forget because you're like this." And then I remember freaking out upstairs at dinner saying, "I forgot if I locked my hotel room door." But I knew that I did later because I remembered that I had told myself to lock the door because I knew I would forget. So that was a little scary. Not really scary, but I knew I was having a high blood sugar and didn't really know exactly how to fix it, and there was just a lot of carbs and I couldn't really get away and have protein like every single morning. The rest of the trip I had rice, beans, and eggs for breakfast every single day. And which is a good meal, yeah, but when you really need protein, and I was getting really sick of eggs. I was getting really sick of eggs and I really didn't want them. But I had to eat something, and I was also sick. I had a really bad cold or something, and I had a fever, and I was supposed to be doing all this stuff. It was a trip. It was a mission trip. Okay, we were trying to do things that a sick person should not be doing. So I ended up like sleeping for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I'm not sure exactly, on the concrete floor or tile floor of a public school, just because I was feeling so awful. But I was able to like bring my blood sugar back down after a while, and I felt a little better. I still had a fever the whole day, so I wasn't feeling great, but I wasn't like, "Oh my gosh, my blood sugar is high, I can't remember much, and my brain's all foggy and everything." So I get on the plane to come back to the States from Costa Rica, and I'm having a blast. I'm still a little bit sick from my cold, but I'm getting better, and it's a plane ride. They don't have protein. They don't have like nothing good. Okay, they give me sugar. Of course, they give me sugar. That's like chocolate brownie bites that are like a cracker, but they don't really, they're not really a cracker. Well, you get the point. So I ate those because I'm hungry. I had had one meal that day at the airport, and it was um, supposed to be like a five 5 hour flight, 5 or 6 hours, but our flight got delayed, and it got seriously delayed because of high winds. But all of us were already on the plane, and so we couldn't get off of the plane because of security reasons. And so we're just sitting there for a couple hours, and then we lift off, and they're like, "We need to stop to refuel." And then we ended up being there for a couple hours, and then we finally were on our way home. So I was exhausted and tired and not feeling good, and I didn't know how high my blood sugar was or something like that. And so I get home. I finally see my family, which I had left back in the States, and I went with this group with my church. And my mom's like, she kind of seems a little off. I think we should, like, see if she's okay. So we get home and took a test, and I had, um, I forget what it's called, but I had something that if you have too much of, like, it starts shutting down your organs. So, what is it? Ketones. It's ketones. Okay. So I had ketones, and that's really dangerous. And so it's at this point it is midnight, and I've just gotten off the plane. I had just gotten home from the airport to do this test, and um, I did not want to go to the hospital, but at the same time I was like, I really just don't care. I wasn't really thinking well, and I still had a cold, so I wasn't feeling and I was exhausted. I'd been on a plane ride all day, hadn't been able to lay down, hadn't been able to sleep, and so I was on the plane for like 8 or 9 hours. I think it was 8, but it was really hard. And get to the hospital. I hate needles, as I said before, and so uh, they put an IV in, which really wasn't that bad, and I was able to um, get some fluids. And they said that the reason I had the ketones was because I was so dehydrated, but I didn't want to drink a ton of water because I was on a flight. Okay, you don't know. And they hardly even they gave me like a little little tiny cup of water. Here, drink this. I got like one refill. That's all they offered on an 8 hour plane flight. So that was difficult, let me tell you. But so I had one day, and I got home, I went to bed after the hospital and just fell asleep. Woke up and had like a normal day. I went to um, Bucky's had just opened from our house, like near our house, and we were just having fun. And then the next day, I had my wisdom teeth out. So um, I had to get all of the needles done again, and that was a little stressful. And after I got my wisdom teeth out, my blood sugar was over 200 for most of the day, which is, I felt awful on top of having my wisdom teeth out. So I was having a lot of pain, and at the same time, I feel just awful because my blood sugar is so high. So we called the doctor, and they're like, we should get you for an appointment, which was reasonable, of course. I should. So we went down to the Barbara Davis Center in Colorado, Denver area, Aurora, maybe. Well, we went down there, and they told me that I needed to start taking insulin. I was very belligerent. I really did not want to start taking insulin. Um, I didn't really think that I needed it, but they were like, this is where most people hit the limit that they need to start taking insulin. So I guess I gave in because I knew I had to do it at some point, and I didn't really want to put it off and then worry about it constantly, and then have to not eat some things. And while I was on the trip, it was really hard because a lot of the other people were getting like chocolate chip pancakes or chocolate strawberries or just a milkshake or pop, and I was feeling very, very left out. But now that I have insulin, I can take like a fast acting insulin and eat that stuff and be fine. My blood sugar still will go a little high, but it's that's normal. That's what a normal person would do anyway. So that having insulin has been encouraging. And yes, it was extremely scary at the beginning, but it's gotten a lot better. And type 1 diabetes does not mean that I'm allergic to sugar. Okay, autoimmune disease. Autoimmune disease means that my body is attacking my pancreas, and I can't help it. Yeah, so I'm not allergic to sugar. It's just my pancreas isn't supplying enough insulin, as I said before, to handle the amount of sugar that I'm eating, which includes carbs, because carbs are processed the same way as sugars would. So type 1 diabetes is it's different. It's very different from type 2 diabetes. So type 2 diabetes is adult onset or non-insulin dependent diabetes. So it is most common in type of diabetes over adults over age 40. So can be found in overweight preteens and teenagers as well. Insulin is still made and in normal increased amounts, but it doesn't work very well in helping the body use sugar. So type 1 versus type 2, quite different. Type 2 is more of a like lifestyle, and type 1 is autoimmune disease. So quite different, but there you have it. That is my story, I guess, and I'm really glad that I could share that with you and bring awareness, I guess, to type 1 diabetics, and that you're not alone. And sometimes it's really easy to feel alone, and that you are a human needle poker. So just needles aren't that bad. You get used to them. Yes, it's hard to accept the fact that that's your life now, but it does get better. So have hope.